looking at what Donald Trump has promised. He's promised massive hikes in tariffs on goods coming from Mexico, Canada and China starting on the first day of his administration. And the move, Trump said, will be in retaliation for illegal immigration and crime and drugs coming across the southern border. What's your take on this?
So tariffs are really the one issue that Donald Trump has been remarkably consistent on for probably 40 to 45 years. Seriously, going back to the 1980s, well into the lead up into NAFTA, the U.S., Mexico, Canada trade negotiations during the Bill Clinton presidency, Donald Trump has always been an outspoken skeptic of unvarnished free trade. That really is his issue, especially focused on China, really above all there. So I'm not the least bit surprised here. What's actually very interesting, Gabrielle, is that the Biden-Harris administration really left Trump's China tariffs in place. They didn't change that at all, actually. In some ways, they actually doubled down there. So I think what's rattling a lot of people here is not the China tariffs, but the Canada and Mexico tariffs that he's announcing 25% there. Look, the reality is America is suffering a debilitating crisis when it comes to immigration as well as drugs. Unfortunately, tragically, in fact, I know this all too well. My cousin, may his memory be a blessing, overdosed and died about 7 years ago now due to a fentanyl-induced overdose. So my family has actually suffered the results of America's horrific fentanyl crisis. And what Donald Trump is doing with these tariffs on Mexico, but also to an extent on Canada, is he is trying to use this as a tactic to induce them to crack down on illegal alien invasion and transnational border crossing drug trafficking. So he's using it just as a crass negotiating tool, to which I say, why the heck not? Because drug overdose deaths in America over the past 2 years have reached historical highs. We're dealing now with roughly 110,000 Americans dropping dead from drug overdose deaths every year. It's horrific. That is a change, by the way, from about 5.5 to 6,000 when it was at its low in the early 90s. So it's just a completely exponential increase there. All tactics should be on the table to crack down on both the immigration invasion and the drug trafficking there. I think Trump has it exactly right.
And I'm sorry to hear that that has impacted you and your family. The soon-to-be new border czar, Tom Homan, has issued a warning to Democrat leaders who say they're going to push back on Trump's deportation operation. Let's take a listen.
What you've done is not only protect the state of Texas and the citizens of Texas, you are protecting this nation. It's a shame we have other governors and other mayors who are right out of the gate. I said they're going to push back on President Trump and what we're trying to do, especially for interior enforcement. Let me be clear. There is going to be a mass deportation because we just finished a mass illegal immigration crisis on the border.
Certainly sounding a lot tougher than the current border czar.
Yeah, I love Tom Homan. I can seriously listen to Tom Homan clips all day. My wife and I just love listening to this guy. He is so blunt. He's so to the point there. The only issue that I have is that I hope he actually gets the leeway to do that which he has been assigned. So he's technically the quote unquote border czar. That's not actually a real title. It's somewhat of an informal title here in the States. It means that he's basically in charge of implementing border security, in charge of implementing the largest mass deportation operation in the history of the United States. But constitutionally speaking and legally speaking, he is subservient to the Secretary of Homeland Security, which in this case is going to be Kristi Noem, the current governor of South Dakota. So I just hope that Tom Homan is given the leeway from the actual Secretary of DHS, Kristi Noem, to do the likes that he is actually talking about. Because, if Kristi Noem wants to gum up the work, she has that ability. I'm not saying she will. God willing, we're all going to be on board here. Donald Trump, after all, was really elected on a mandate on the immigration issue above all there. But look, it's going to take Congress to play ball a little bit here as well. So simply put, ICE, our deportation agency here, there's simply not enough boots on the ground to an extent to actually carry out some of that which has to be carried out. So they're going to need more funding. They're going to need more manpower there. But if all those ducks are lined up in a row, man, I cannot wait to see Tom Homan get to work.
Josh Hammer, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.